I want to go back. I want to go back to these two places. I'm Guyanese, as my listeners will know. Um, Guyana, Venezuela. If you had to choose a place in each of these countries to settle down, to live yourself, pick one in Guyana and then pick one in Venezuela.
Sorry, can you repeat the question
If
again?
you had to, if you had to choose a place to live, and
Yes.
in both either countries, where would you live? Where would you choose to live in Guyana and why? And where would you choose to live in Venezuela and why?
Well, okay. That's quite a okay. It's quite a question for me, but I will say I'm very comfortable living in Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
I do quite often, um, but Guyana generally they still need to open a lot. I mean, like I work with tourism, and the tourism infrastructure is not really well developed. That makes it a bit slow for tourism there.
Uh-huh.
Once the infrastructure there, it's going to get moving. Here, at least in Venezuela, we don't have a good infrastructure for tourism, which makes it easier for me here to coordinate a lot of
So
stuff.
you feel that when Guyana opens up to tourism, a lot of other industries will benefit from this then?
Yes, of course, it'll become like a big economy for the country, tourism.
What about you mentioned Guyana being slated as one of the top 16 places to visit in 2016. What
Yes,
about what about
I,
20? Huh?
sorry, sorry. Go ahead.
Right. What about tourist guides? You think Guyana has adequate amount of tourist guides? What should Guyana do to make sure that they have enough tourist guides to satisfy the demands when this really opens up?
Yes, I would say Iwokram is one of the companies there in Guyana where I've seen to do quite a lot of tour guiding um, courses there. Actually, I've done some training programs with them. I've trained some kids in the North Roploni area where they have clubs there, like the tourist clubs there, and I've done training in Sarama also. So at least Iwokram is one of the top companies I would say, which are dedicating in actually certifying tour guides also, which is very good. I would say they've done very good courses there. I've worked along with them doing training courses for tour guides in especially North Roploni. So the country generally, I think they should bring that in the curriculum in Guyana. Maybe some sort of courses for people who want to become guides, or I don't know if they can put it like in Peru. Generally, in Peru, to be a tour guide is a profession. You go to university for 5 years to be a tour guide.
Mhm.
I
Iwo-
think they should introduce that sort of programs in Guyana. People who want to do maybe like in school or maybe the university or somewhere.
What is it about Iwokuramo that appeals to you, Terry?
Well, Iwakrama have been doing quite a good job because they work along with the local communities, which is very good. I mean, they put back some of the stuff back to the company, to these local villages, which is very good. And the majority of their workers are local people from the communities also, which is very, very good. I really
Iwokura-
have
uh-huh.
some of working along with the local communities, which is very, very good.
Thank you. Iwokuroma is in the hinterlands, and you know the majority of Guyanese live on the coastal lands in Swan. Some of them have never even really went into the hinterland, much less a place like Iwokurama. But what is something about Iwokurama that you have experienced that you think would surprise a lot of people who have never visited it? Because I personally am thinking about visiting it sometime. But what is one thing that you've noticed there that is very appealing?
Okay, I've been doing trips all over South America. I've
Mm-hmm.
been to the Amazon, the Brazilian Amazon, the Venezuelan Amazon, the Colombian side of Amazon, the Brazilian, the Bolivian part of Amazon, Peruvian part of Amazon, and it's not to compare to the Guyana jungle, I would say, because it's a bit more untouched, where it's not that really um, well exploited like other countries I've been to. Like for instance, my first trip to the Amazon in Brazil, wow, like it's very high expectations as a guy that you're gonna see tons of animals and this wild thing with all these wild animals all over. No, it
No,
never, it
no.
never like my 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 expectations. Never. In my 17 to 20 years of traveling doing tourism, the only place I've seen a jaguar, and not on a tour, just on the trail, was in Iwukrama area. I was so
Wow.
excited for the jaguar. Yeah,
One quick question before we take a break, Terry.
yes.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to ask it, and then when we come back, you could answer the question. Um, I want you to just give us an experience of one of your tours. You know, in any one of the places that you've gone to. Um, what people enjoyed, how you enjoyed it, and just describe one of these tours for us so we can give our audience an idea of what one of Tarantula Eco Tours is like. When
One
we
of the
come
main.
back, think about it. When we come back, all right, I'll take a quick break.
Okay,
Yes,
I'm here. I'm just sitting next here.
all right. We are back. So I'd asked you, Terry, before the break to describe one of your tours, one of your adventures for us.
Um, I've had so many adventures, but I will mostly tell you about adventures in Venezuela because this is where actually
Okay.
I'm based, I would say, because as I said, I've done trips all over, but I'm more trying to promote Venezuela and Guyana,
Hmm.
my countries. Well, the highlight of Venezuela is the Angel Falls, I would say. This is where actually I started out as a full-time guide when I was licensed and started working in that area. It's known, of course, as one of the highest waterfalls in the world. It's one of the most beautiful national parks. It's 30,000 square kilometers of national park there. So it's not only the Angel Falls which makes that trip very beautiful and very adventurous, I would say. There are other waterfalls that we visit there in the area. There's the Lagoon of Canaima where they have four waterfalls in there, and there are two waterfalls you can actually walk inside the waterfall. It's behind the curtain of the waterfall. It's so it's a bit scary sometimes to take people. Some people can get really scared there, but it's a very nice and adventurous trip to do. But the trip itself, the boat trip itself to the Angel Falls, the 4 hour boat trip, it's so beautiful because you're going up the boat with a boat just on the sides of this massive mountain range called the Aoyantepui. So it's very magical. People go there, it blows their mind because the whole area is beautiful. This beautiful waterfalls, the beautiful mountains in the background. It's very beautiful. So people go there. Every person did just enjoy that trip. It's so very beautiful because it's in a national park.
Hmm. What is one of the most difficult trails you have tried?
Well, out of my travels, most of the extreme trails I've done, I would say, is in Peru. They have the different types of treks go to Machu Picchu. There's this alternative trek called the Salcantay, which is very difficult because you're hiking in altitude, and of course, altitude is not easy, and you're walking with snow up to your knees. I mean, it's one of the
You're
most
walking in what? Or?
snow up to your knees because you're walking up a glacier sometimes. Oh man, I mean, that's the most extreme thing I've ever done in my life. That extreme hike. Day two, I was telling myself, "What the hell I've get myself into?" I wanted to turn back, but you can't go back. You have to keep on. I actually cried on that trek because it was so difficult. Altitude, you're bleeding through your nose. You cannot sleep at night. Cracking headaches. You cannot overeat. Man, it's like
Are you
torture.
serious?
Yes, because of altitude, of course.
Wow.
You
Terry,
cannot sleep because your body goes to complete rest when you're sleeping. But when you're sleeping at altitude, your brain is telling you you're stifling. So you wake up in the middle of the sleep and you wake up with this really cracking headache because, of course,
oh my
you
gosh.
out of oxygen. So the brain is telling you, wake up or else you're gonna die. So you wake up with this cracking headache in the middle of the and cannot sleep back. Oh man, it's like extreme, very extreme.
How often do you do this particular trail?
I did it once just to see what was it
Oh,
like.
I see.
Very fit. But I have done the Inca Trail 19 times, and I would say it's not that really challenging. Roraima is more challenging than the Inca Trail because I've compared it, and I've actually asked clients also who've done both, and they say Roraima definitely is a bit more challenging than the Inca Trail.
What,
But there's other treks I've done. It's easier, but those are I would say those are about the most challenging ones I've done around. I mean, with the travels I've done.
Terry, working with tourists can be very exhausting. People can get tired, cranky, sick, stubborn. Sometimes they whine, and you need to be upbeat, uh, and I guess full of energy at all times. But what keeps you going, Terry, when you're in one of these tours?
Okay, first thing I would like to tell you, working with public is the most difficult thing to
Mm,
do. You cannot satisfy everybody. Is the first thing. I said the best thing to do in cases of I mean to avoid people complaining, people getting grumpy, is your information. As I said, the briefing you give them before,
yeah.
it's one of the most important things. And there's also called group control. I mean, group psychology. All those things helps a lot.
Mhm.
And I do tell my clients sometimes. I make like a joke to them. I said, guys, okay, okay, if you're gonna travel for 10 days, the guys are gonna travel for 10 days, and you only will have one grumpy day per person. You meet the grump on this trip, so you're only allowed one grumpy day.
What is most rewarding about this job?
The most rewarding part for me, I would say, is on being a tour guide is the satisfaction you get at the ending of the tour. When you end this tour, like it's your last day, and your clients come to you and said, "Oh, Terry, we had an awesome time. We enjoyed everything. This was like a once in a lifetime experience." That fills me with a lot of pride.
Hmm.
That's what more I like. Not even the payment I get. I more prefer like people just tell me thanks and they had a good time. It makes me feel so good.
Wow. Um, what do you say to young people who want to get into the industry?
To be everybody can I've seen a lot of people trying with tourism. When I was working with this Canadian company, people used to get in a company just to travel because, of course, that company does trips all over the world, and you have to have some sort of tour guides have their own, I would say, qualities. You have to be like this person who have to be very social. And I've seen people get into tourism and they don't really do well because they don't have the qualities of their tour guide, right?
Hmm.
Remember, you have to be very easygoing. You have to be very professional. You need to like some people can be very like enclosed. They're not open to other people. Well, you have to be very open minded, and that's like makes you like a quality tour leader. I would say you need to be open and and understanding people, right?
What is
So some
your
people
what?
get into tourism and they don't have the qualities. They don't have the qualities to be a tour guide. So they end up failing in that era. I would say.
What what's your next trip, and what are you most looking forward to?
Well, right now I'm mostly I was concentrating on Guyana right now. So I'm working on some itineraries for Guyana, and that's where actually I want to mostly focus on Guyana right now because I know, as I said, it's getting there. And I hope this new government, I mean, try to put things in place, get more organized, and put up a tourist information center there at least at the airport, which is the
So
main thing.
that's big. That is really major. The
Yes,
information
we should
center.
have an information center,
Hmm.
and people need information. There's no one to give nobody information, and you see what happens is that every time you go to Guyana, sometimes Guyanese sell Guyana really bad. Don't go here, you can get mugged here. Don't don't do that. That's the worst thing to do.
Mm.
Guyanese care tourists. That's why you need a tourist information center where you get the real information about the country. Not a taxi man telling you, hey, don't go to this place because you're going to get mugged, or don't go there, or don't do this, or don't. You're scaring the people on arrival, right?
Mhm.
So, what I've been seeing and what's happening in Guyana is that the people who actually are doing this information for tourists are the taxi drivers, and the taxi drivers are the ones who scare your clients over
The
here. I mean,
taxi drivers.
yes, those are the ones because, of course, the tourists have the first contact with them because there's no information center,
Ah.
right? So the taxi drivers are the ones like the information center for tourists who arrive in Guyana, and they're the ones care, of course, the people away, right?
And perhaps even information in the magazine on the plane.
Yes, they do have that. Like for instance, they have this magazine called Expo Guyana, something like, I think it's
Yes.
Expo Guyana.
Yeah.
Those are good magazines, but of course, as I said, you need to put something in your podium, a proper little office, where people can go straight up to the office, get some pamphlets from there, and get some information from somebody at that desk. And they will be happy and feel comfortable. Or these same information centers of contacts for the police contact in case of any emergency, and so make the people to feel safe in the country. That's the main thing.
So
Just feel
Terry,
safe.
how do you manage all of this? Do you have other tour guides working with you?
I do have other guys work with me because I have my company here in Venezuela. Currently I have one of my brothers work with me, my nephew. Then I have other guides in Caracas and right in the city where I live here also.
When
So I have
you
my local guides. I have local guides. Then I have my tour leaders. There's a difference between a tour leader and a tour guide.
uh-huh.
The tour guides are the ones who are on the ground for a certain activity. For instance, if I'm going to do Roraima, I have my tour guides for Roraima. Then I'll have a tour leader who picks up these tourists at the airport and travel them for 7 days or 10 days, whatever, how long they have to travel for. He's with them from day one to the end of the tour. That's a tour leader. He's not a tour guide.
And what are some of his special qualifications?
He's the one who actually, well, he's a guide also, but we mostly classify them as tour leaders because they're with the people every day. They take them to lunch, breakfast, and dinner, and then take them to these different activities like Angel Falls, Roraima, and Grand Savannas. But they're not going as a guide; they're just there. Sometimes you might find guides can speak English properly, so they're like a backup plan where there's okay, this guy is not doing well with his English, or he's a new guy that he's learning, and they're the ones eventually the tour leaders are the ones who is like a backup to give you more information if the guide didn't give you proper information.
And
So I do work along with both. I have my local guides in a certain area. I have local guides in Roraima. I have local guides in Angel Falls. I have local guides in Los Llanos. So I have my people all over. I just have to coordinate everything accordingly wherever my clients want to go, and I get coordinate all my guides and my leaders, and they do the tour for me.
Terry, when you think of tourism in Guyana, what are some things that or places that immediately come to mind?
Well, of course, sky tourism is the highlights of Guyana. I mean, each country they have something called a highlight of a country.
Right.
So definitely is one a must to see. Then, as I said, North Rukruni and the jungle of Iwakrama jungle is getting very famous because they're getting organized there. They're quite organized. I mean, there's other places to visit in Guyana, but they are not organized. I mean, it's quite difficult to travel in Guyana also because transportation is quite expensive because of fuel, of course, is expensive. And we don't have major highways like in Venezuela here. I can drive for 72 hours in here in Venezuela. Very good highway. You cannot do that in Guyana. So there's no major highways. So communication is quite a bit difficult there, which makes some of the trips quite expensive also. So in the North Rupununi area, they're getting very organized. They have trips there, organized trips, and in Wukrama Jungle, where they have the canopy walkway. It's the only one in South America, by the way, the canopy walkway. I've done trips all over South America. I've never seen a canopy walkway in South America apart from there.
That's at Iwakrama.
Yeah, so that's a must to visit.
All right.
It's in
Okay.
you're walking to the top of the trees there on like a bridge. It's a bridge in the trees, eh?
The
It's the
only
only thing in the whole South America.
Wow.
It's a must to see.
I am curious, Terry. Does Guyana? Well, I'm sure it has a lot of jewels, but is there a particular jewel in Guyana, an area, place that you know about that would surprise or would really mesmerize a lot of people?
Yes, you see, different tours of different are interested in different things. Eh? Tourists can have different. There are different types of tours, I would say. People are interested in seeing animals. We call it animal safari, or we have like they go and try to see wild animals like monkeys, birds. There's like tourists who love birds. They're birders. We call them birders. Then we have like tourists love fishing, that the sport fishing. So there's different types of tourists also. But generally, it all depends on what the tourists want to see. So if someone is booking a trip for me, I would like to go to Guyana. I said, what are you interested in? That's the first question I will ask him. Okay, you want to come to Guyana? And so okay, so what are you really interested in seeing? What do you fancy seeing in Guyana? Like the jungles, savannas, fishing, birding, trekking. What do you want to do? So the client has to tell you what they want to do. Then you actually go preparing accordingly to what they want to see. Because I said all tours are different. Some people are different. They want to see different things, right? They're not interested in seeing animals. Some people just come to fish, and that's their passion. Just catching one pickup bass, and they'll be get so excited. That's their passion, right? So it all depends on the client or the tourist.
Is
Because there
there
are
is
different.
there a particular tour you will not do?
Well, no, I would say I generally I'm very adventurous. I pretty much do everything. I would say I love doing everything.
What's your
The most
favorite?
scary
What is
thing
your
I've done, I'll tell you something.
yeah?
Well, the most scary thing I've done in my lifetime as a tour guide, I'm very adventurous. I do a lot of stunts, I do a lot of hardcore stuff. Was in Ecuador. I was with this group of tourists. We were traveling from Ecuador to Peru. So there's a place in Ecuador, it's the Amazon jungle called Cuenca. It's in the jungle there. I've never done bungee jump in my whole life. Never. So there's this area where it's known for bungee jumping. It's jumping off a bridge on 120 meters high, right? I'm talking something like it's almost like 400 feet high. You're jumping off. So
For
we got there, right, and my clients booked to go to do this bungee jump. And of course, as the guy, they come and say, "Hey, guy, let's get you first." I said, "No." This was 2 days ago. I was trying to light them because I was scared, right? I was so scared. Because when I went up to the bridge and looked down that way into the valley, I said, wow, I'm not going there. I was telling myself, but they're looking at me, but of course, as the guide, come on, Terry, let's get you first. You go off. I said, no, I did this just a few days ago. I do this every day. Like, I started to lie with them. And they said, no, come on, you have to do it with us. I said, oh my gosh. Got myself ready, and the guides there got the equipment ready, and that's the most scariest thing I've ever done in my life. I thought I was going to die, honestly.
What are you
I was
thinking as you are
scariest thing
descending?
I've done in my life.
Huh?
Bungee jump. That's the most scary thing.
What were you thinking as you were dropping the Jerry?
Me, I was just telling myself I was dying. I was dying. That's so scary. I mean, okay, I'm this adventurous person, done a lot of extreme stuff, but man, not. But I'm not doing bungee jumping
I
right
gotta
now.
ask you this question. It has nothing to do with tourism. What is your favorite motorcycle?
Well, I'm more off-road person.
Oh, dirt bikes.
Yeah, trail. I love trail. I
Trail.
love big bike. Not small bike. I love big bikes.
You're pretty
I
good?
love, yeah, I really love off trail. I mean off road. Sorry,
All right.
off road.
I hope you have two motorcycles for when I visit.
Yeah, of course.
Where
Yeah, and Guyana is good for that. I love the roads in Guyana for that. I would say, man, actually, I'm going to plan something now. I'm doing up some itineraries for Guyana and Brazil because I know South America by land. I know all the borders. So I do a trip for 125 days around South America. The,
125 days?
like 5 months traveling.
Wow.
So actually, I'm going to start doing maybe. I have quite a lot of friends again that might be interested in biking around South America for 125 days. I mean, just
Where do you see Tarantula Eco Tours in 10 years?
well, of course, I'm not. You know what? Sometimes I don't really look at being like have this tons of groups.
Mm.
Having tons of groups is like a lot of responsibility, bro. A lot of responsibility.
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
Like, personally, for myself, so I'm happy with 3, 4 groups maybe per month. I'm
Okay.
happy.
Okay.
I'm re- because I mean, like a lot of people. It's a lot of responsibility. Remember, I'm always taking off service. If
Yeah.
you have too many people coming, you can't give them all a good service, bro.
Mhm.
So I will limit my groups, I would say. I will limit my group to certain groups per month so I can have a better service for my people, right? For my customers.
What are
Some
you What are you
big
most
idea and just accept people and accept more people and more bigger people. Eventually, you cannot deal with them, and that's when problems come. People start to complain,
mm,
and you get bad recommendations for your company. I don't want to get this bad recommendation. I want to have good recommendations all the time. So that's why I will limit my groups per month. Rather having 100 groups per month, I would say like maximum maybe 4 or 5 groups per month, where I can manage it properly, and make it more. I would say personal. I would deal with them personally. I like to deal with my clients personally, talk to them, and
okay?
chat with. That's what I love doing.
What are you most proud of, Terry?
I'm proud of being firstly as a Guyanese. I mean, my English came from there, so I'm proud of that, and that's why I'm happy. Actually, where I am right now, from where I started off, came from a very poor family. Now
Hmm.
I was happy. I'm proud of that.
What
My from Guyana.
What are you most thankful for?
Thankful, of course, to my parents for giving me an education, sending me to school and stuff like that. Although we came
Awesome.
from a very small village, in the middle of nowhere, but they made it. I mean, like a sacrifice for us to go to
Yeah.
school.
W- If you could go back in time, what would you tell your 16-year-old self?
Okay, I would tell them they need to study, and I mean, if you want to get into tourism, you need to start from now. Actually, I have one son working with me. He loves doing tourism also,
Okay.
so I had to send him to Guyana to learn English because he doesn't speak English. Because I live in Venezuela. My children speak Spanish only.
Oh,
So
wh-
I end up sending him to Guyana to learn English. So he's the one of them who works with me here in Venezuela.
when are you most happy, Terry?
Sorry,
When are you most happy?
when?
Yes.
Well, most times I'm always happy when I have all my family together. Especially most time December is when it's like family time.
Hmm.
See my because I live 10 hours away from my parents, so I don't really see them often. So when we have this family reunion, it's my happiest time of my life. I would say that's when we talk about all our mischief or the mischief we did when we were young. So this is the happiest times of my life. I would say when we have this Christmas gatherings at my mom's place.
Last question of the evening. What makes you laugh out loud?
Well, let me see. Actually, as I said, I'm a very social person. I always have a smile on my face.
Uh-huh.
I have enemies. I don't envy anybody, so I'm always laughing. So I'm a very happy and social person. I always
Terry,
be like this.
Terry Gonzalez Cesar. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you, my brother.
Okay. Thank you, Selwyn. It was nice chatting with you.
This is Selwyn Collins saying to the listeners, thank you very much. Fear not what fear whispers to you, fear your obedience to it. Good evening.